Crystal's conversation piece. Come and talk to me. Conversation piece. Crystal's conversation piece. Come and talk to me. Conversation piece.
This will be the best day of your life. Thank you so much for tuning in to Crystal's Conversation Piece podcast. This is episode 3 of season 1, and I'm super excited to talk to you today about a very sensitive subject. However, it is going to be very helpful moving forward, as many people have shared their concern with how to address someone that is grieving. What do you say? What do you do? What is the proper way to engage with someone that is grieving? And we don't want to add to the grief. We want to lighten their load. As many of you know, my husband recently passed away about 1.5 years ago. So I have some items on my list, some bullet points on my list to share with you to help you, as some of these topics have been my personal experience. And so I felt like it would be great to share them with my listeners on today, as we want to do better as we know better. Okay, so let's get right in. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate each and every listener. You are the bomb.com. So I have had people tell me, I don't know what to say to you, Crystal. I don't know what to do. So many times, especially when the loss is very fresh, meaning within the first months, and even if you want to go for a long shot, that very first year is very crucial. It's very sensitive, and individuals that are grieving are hypersensitive to almost everything, and we don't want to be that way. People don't want to be that way. However, due to the given circumstances, that's how it is. So we want to be mindful of this, and if possible, consider the individuals that are grieving, consider their feelings first before your own. We understand that you are grieving as well. However, when you have a loss of someone that you are accustomed to seeing them every day, living in the same home with them, that is a whole different level. These individuals don't get a break from grief. They cannot leave their home and go, get a break. The loss is everywhere, especially in their home. So it's the thing of, when you're grieving someone that's not necessarily a close relation to you, you can get a brain break when you leave that person's presence. You can kind of, psych your mind out, if you will, to that denial kicks in. However, for the individual that may have been a spouse or a parent, these kinds of things, especially if the child was still living at home, they don't get the opportunity, they don't get the advantage of this break of being able to just walk away and say, this is too much. So with that being said, I want to just share with you and say, many times when someone is grieving, especially when it's fresh, as I said earlier, pretty much no words are going to help. No words, and I don't mean to be harsh when I say that. What I'm saying is the person is most times in shock, and they just want their loved one back. So the words that you are saying are not getting through for the most part. There is essentially no words that can really soothe or help the person in such a way to where it's helping their heart at that point, because things are so new and so fresh. And the person, as I said, is probably in shock and in total denial. And there's several different levels of grief. And so this person is probably going through all of them all at one time. So we want to be careful and limit our words to that individual, because, yes, we want to send cards and things of that nature, but the words just begin to be sometimes overwhelming in the beginning. Maybe later on, a month or two later on, they may feel up to reading those cards. And then at that point, at least I'm speaking for myself. Everyone is different. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just trying to help to give the audience some kind of guidance on how to proceed. So it's good to let individuals know that you care. It's good to let them know that you are there. And so we want to make sure that our words are short and sweet at that time. So sit in the moment with that person. If you are a close relation to the person that is grieving, sit there with them in that moment, mostly not speaking much. Just be there. Your presence, I promise you, is priceless, and probably one of the most helpful gestures that you can give to that individual at that time. Also, it's very helpful not to try to tell the individual how to grieve, especially if you have not experienced the same type of loss. So, for instance, my husband passed away. So for someone that has never been married, it would be kind of not helpful at all. And I'm really trying to be nice here and say, for someone that has never been married, you cannot tell that individual how to grieve. It's just not going to work. It's not going to be helpful. And there are times when you may see the individual at the store for that first time after the loss. You may see them at church, or you may see them at the park or whatever have you. And so it's best not to make that greeting weird. Many times it's best not to bring up the loss. Maybe just say something like, I love you, it's good to see you, I'm praying for you. But don't bring up the person's name. If anyone, it would be the person that's grieving. It's safe for them, and it's most appropriate to let them bring up the individual's name. Let them bring up the topic of the loss. And then just, be there and listen and be supportive. Mostly listening is the best thing that you can do for that individual. And so it's most definitely inappropriate for the most part, unless you know the person like really, really well, you're like close kin or something of that nature, to ask particular questions. Now, if you say, okay, I don't know how to show this person that I care. I don't know how to show this person that I'm there. and I really don't know what to say most of all. And so in order to make sure that you let that person know that you love them and that you care, there are ways that you can do that and you don't ever have to speak a word. There are ways that you can, for example, send a meal, send a card. And I'm just going to be frank. Please don't send empty cards to someone that has lost a loved one that is a very close relationship. It's just put something in that card. If you can afford it, put something in that card. Send useful household items. Just maybe put them on the porch or put a gift card in the card. And it doesn't even have to be much. Most times the thought is what counts. It's the thought that counts here. These moments are so crucial. It's literally the little things that really mean the most to someone that is grieving. I promise you on that. Send something to let them know. Don't just not do anything. Please don't just avoid the person. Don't just avoid interaction with that person, because that is the worst thing to do. That is absolutely the worst decision that you could ever make. At that time, when someone has experienced a loss, they are looking to hear from particular people that are in their life. Close friends, close family, close loved ones. They look to hear from you. And it's mostly just to let them know, like I said, to let them know that you care, that you've heard about what has happened, and that you are there for them and that you're praying for them. That's what means the most. Some of the things that would be good to ask before you speak to that person, before you engage with the person, ask yourself these questions. Is my statement or question going to be beneficial to the bereaved? Is my statement or question going to be beneficial to the bereaved? Also, is it good timing to say what I want to say? Is it good timing? Also, another good question to ask yourself, am I considering their emotional health? Am I considering the emotional health of the bereaved? Consider these questions before you engage with them, before you say something to them. And that's why, if you don't feel comfortable speaking with that individual one-on-one, then it's best to just send an indirect gift, if you will, to let that individual know that you are there and that you care. So that's all I have for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in to Crystal's Conversation Piece. I hope this information was beneficial and helpful to you. Remember, stay light so you can fly. See you next time.